Good morning, gang. Happy Monday morning. So, last day of a video from South Carolina because we hit the road shortly after this one's up. So, back to Tennessee. So, I kind of wanted to give you some observations here of what was going on. And I want to preface this by the 2016 Democrat Party primaries. Now, if you remember back when everybody was running everything, and Bernie won Iowa and the caucuses there, and then won the primaries in New Hampshire, and everybody kept screaming, wait till South Carolina, wait till South Carolina, because there's a large black population, and that's Biden's firewall. Okay. And sure enough, what happened? Biden won South Carolina and got the momentum, and that eventually got him to win the Democrat nomination and eventually got selected to be president. So that's where we are now. But I bring this up for a simple reason, because as we've seen in the news here just in the last day or two, Biden has now come out and said said this numerous times, that the biggest threat, the biggest terroristic threat to the United States is white supremacy. Okay? Which I get a kick out of, because in the example I just gave you, which we all can remember, which is fact, there's plenty of video on it all over the place, that the Democrat Party, the Biden campaign, was using racism as a way to justify him staying in the primaries. Okay, you know, again, they flat out said because of the heavy black population in South Carolina. Right? So, racist comment. But so we get into a little bit of all these things going on, and this is where it becomes very important to preppers, because we all know the Democrat Party platform. It's always been this way. It will always be this way. It's a platform of deflection. Do something and blame the other side for it. Okay? Think about Russia, Russia, Russia. Okay? For 4 years, Trump colluded with Russia. Trump colluded with Russia. Trump colluded with Russia. Let's do a massive investigation. Let's get the Mueller report out, everything like that. So by the time all's said and done, what comes up? What comes out of it? Oh, Trump didn't have anything to do with Russia. Who did? Oh, gee, that happened to be the Democrat Party. That they were the ones that paid for that. The Clinton Foundation was the one that paid for all this. So, deflection. Do something, blame the other side. That's the typical Democrat platform. Again, always has been, always will be. So you look at what's going on right now. I know, and anybody else knows that there isn't a single good idea that the Democrats can bring to the table right now. Raising taxes? Oh, yeah, that's a good idea. Stimulus checks? Destroy the economy? Oh, yeah, that's a good idea. Open the borders? Bring in a whole bunch of illegals? Oh, yeah, that's a good idea. Okay, so there's nothing that is a good idea. So what they've got to come up with is some way to divert your attention from all the bad crap that is happening in the United States right now because of their decisions, and make it a emotional issue rather than a factual issue. And that's exactly where they're going. So they're going to bring out the race card. That's always the last ditch effort for the Democrats. They have nothing else to say, so let's just blame racism. So they know they are in the hot seat right now. The economy's tanking, okay? All the promises of, oh, we'll fix this. Trump can't do anything right. We'll fix this. And of course, we're seeing, unemployment is, job numbers came out Friday, bad. Okay. Inflation going up, bad. Okay. So under Joe's leadership, everything's going in the toilet. So deflect. Again, like I said, watch this hand, not what's going on over here. So I'm going to talk about racism with this hand. So it's that emotional issue. So you ignore the factual issues of the economy, the immigration problem, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. That's their idea. Now, where I say that the reason they're bringing in racism, you have to understand this has been something that's worked well for them for a long time. Remember, the Democrats are the party of the KKK. Factual, 100% proven. Okay? The Democrats are the party of Jim Crow. The Democrats are the party that didn't want to give blacks the right to vote. So the ones that are against the ones that are trying to drive the wedge in between the races has always been the Democrats. There's no question. Okay, I'll give you an example. Last night we were at dinner and there was TV on there, and as I looked up, there was a commercial on that was against hate for Asians or something. I guess there's a whole bunch of them. Not I guess. I mean, I've heard it that there's a bunch of racial problems between other ethnic groups and Asians. Now, I want to give you something here. If you think of where the majority of Asians in the United States, I don't care if it's Japanese, Chinese, Korean, Filipino, Indonesia, Thai, whatever it would be, where the majority of them live is in the big cities. Okay, think about it. There's a Chinatown, big Chinatown in San Francisco. Nancy Pelosi, famous in there with her COVID speech. Big Chinatown in Chicago, first place I ever ate chicken feet. Big Chinatown in New York City. But, is there a Chinatown in Ottumwa, Iowa? Or, I don't know, St. George, Utah? No, okay? The majority of Asians live in the cities. What do cities all have in common? They're run by Democrats. How are they run by Democrats? The majority of the population is Democrat. Think about it. Pelosi, Maxine Waters, Lori Lightfoot. When's the last time Chicago had a Republican mayor? Okay, AOC, pick something like that. So if the population is all Democrat and there's Asian hate, and that's where the Asians live, who's hating on them? It's Democrats. It's not conservatives. Pretty straightforward, simple there. So, what I'm saying is Biden is trying to divide the country by race, continuing the policy that his mentor, Barack Obama, put in place. Again, remember, this is the guy who set race relations back 50, 60 years. Came in and said every problem with the United States is racial, except even though the guy was mulatto, he identified as black, and, kind of forgot, it's like, if we have such racial problems and there's such hatred amongst minorities in this country, how the hell did you get elected? There would be a problem. So it's against everybody else, but you were different. You certainly didn't say the reason I got elected was because I was white. I know many people personally who said they wanted to be part of electing the first black president. Okay, I think that's a pretty crappy reason for electing somebody. It's like, it's like saying the first woman president or something like that. I don't care if you stand up or sit down to pee. Okay, are you qualified in here to lead a country? Okay, the color of your skin does not qualify you to lead a country. What's in here does. Okay, so Biden is just taking Barack Obama's policies and putting them on steroids, okay, to completely divide the country. Now, if you think about what's coming, and we've mentioned it on many things before, this starts to look like 1930s Germany, where you had a divide of the country. Germany, obviously, between the Germans and the Jews. Okay, so now what you're trying to get is a divide in the country here between POCs, peoples of color, as the woke term goes, and Caucasian people. So, talked many times about FEMA camps. Can you imagine if all of a sudden that the mandate goes out that all white people have to be rounded up and put into FEMA camps or put into concentration camps or put into an Auschwitz-like camp? Okay. Think I'm kidding. I want to give you a story here on a woman, okay, doctor, in New York. Okay, she is, and I can't verify this; it's not out, but it looks to be, from what we're understanding, is Iranian heritage. She is an American citizen, born here, everything like that, but of Iranian heritage. Okay, she is a licensed psychiatrist in New York City by the name of Dr. Aruna Kilanani. Okay, now she gave a speech the other day to the Yale School of Medicine. I think we all agree, politics aside, Yale is a very good college. Okay, Ivy League school. You figure Yale School of Medicine. Okay, now you're talking about medical school and one of the best schools. I'd say, yeah, this is a level of intellectuals. Okay, people that are very intelligent. I mean, it's not like anybody can get into the Yale School of Medicine. But so this psychiatrist, and that's key to remember here, gave a speech, and I want to read a couple of quotes that she gave. Okay, these are just direct quotes from her speech. This is the cost of talking to white people at all, the cost of your own life as they suck you dry. There are no good apples out there. White people make my blood boil. Next quote, this is my favorite one. I had fantasies of unloading a revolver into the head of any white person that got in my way, burying their body and wiping my bloody hands as I walked away relatively guiltless with a bounce in my step, like I did the world a fucking favor. Okay? White people are out of their minds and have been for a long time. We need to remember that directly talking about race to white people is useless because they are at the wrong level of conversation. Addressing racism assumes that white people can see and process what we are talking about. They can't. That's why they sound demented. They don't even know they have a mask on. White people think it's their actual face. We need to get to know the mask. Now, psychiatrist, okay? Would you send your kids to her as a psychiatrist? The woman is batshit crazy, okay? This article alone should have her license to practice psychiatry pulled in a heartbeat. This woman is insane, all right? To come up and say, I had fantasies of unloading a revolver into the head of any white person. I don't know about you, okay? And remember here, I'm ex-military, okay? We're trained to do stuff like that, not empty a revolver in somebody's head, but, worst case scenario, shoot other people. Never in my life have I had a fantasy to unload a revolver into anybody's head. Okay, I don't care if they were my worst enemy. Okay, still not that way. But this is the Democrat mindset. Okay, and it's people like these who have been completely brainwashed by the Democrat Party. I mean, just immensely stupid, okay, to think that they are above anybody. Their skin color makes them better. Now, I'll use MLK as an example for me. I'm going to judge anybody by the content of their character rather than the color of their skin. You're a quality person, works hard, nice person, whatsoever, helps out, your fellow neighbor, whatever, polite. Hey, you're fine in my book. I don't care what color. You can be red, black, blue, green, yellow, orange. I don't care. Okay. You're a dirtbag like this guy I talked about in yesterday's video who was on the federal marshal's fugitive list. They shot you and put you under, 6 feet under. Cool. Okay. Again, I don't care what color you are. Red, black, blue, white, green, yellow, orange, purple. Doesn't matter to me. You're a dirtbag. Dead is a good place for you. Okay? We need to have less dirt bags in this world and, more good people. God didn't decide who was good and bad by the color of your skin. Unfortunately, Democrats, I hate to tell you that, okay, but that is a very true fact. Okay, the color of your skin doesn't make you good or bad. Okay, it's your actions and your mentality. And no, not all white people are racist. All Democrats are. I will tell you that. That is an inherent trait that Democrats must have. You must be a racist in order to be a liberal. There is, if you are not, you're a conservative. It's simple as that. Okay. Hey, if you believe in murder, cool. You're a Democrat. Hey, if you believe in the KKK, if you believe in Jim Crow, if you don't believe that blacks, if you believe that blacks are 3/5 of a person, you're a Democrat. Okay, so those are the true things here. But good old creepy Joe, potato here, doesn't, it amazes me because dude was born in 1942. He grew up through, some of the most racially tough periods in the country, right? And that really stuck with him. Okay, he really learned how to do it. So it's been embedded and ingrained in him to blacks sit at the back of the bus. They can't sit at the lunch counter, whatever it is. That's Joe's way of doing things. Remember, Joe's a good friend of Robert Byrd, KKK member. But Joe's looking in the wrong place. Joe's running around with that fire extinguisher trying to put out racism. The problem is he took it to a flood. He didn't take it to a fire. He needs to take that fire extinguisher and start spraying down the Democrat Party. Because you want to find racism in the United States, that's it. You want to eliminate racism in the United States, get rid of every liberal. Because they are going to cause a civil war. It is not going to be a economic war. See, this is the thing. Joe knows the economy's in the tank. And if we wind up in some sort of civil war, revolutionary war, economically, the blame falls squarely on his shoulders because he's the one that tanked the economy. Not COVID, not Trump, not anything. The economy has gotten significantly worse since January 20th, 2021, due to Joe Biden's policies. Okay? But if it's a race war, he can come up and say, we didn't have anything to do with it. It was all those damn racists. So, again, I want you to watch over here because I don't want you to see what's going on over there. That's what's going on. Prep for this, guys. Be very careful. Have your eyes open because this is what they're trying to drive this to. It's going to get very, very scary if they keep pushing crap like this doctor and indoctrinating kids. They're going to, they've been trying to indoctrinate the adults, okay? They're realizing that that's not possible. And so if they can't indoctrinate the adults, that's when, the Gestapo shows up and throws you in the back of the bus and, work shall set you free. Just giving you an idea. Have a good Monday. I'm about to get on the road. Pinball out.